Here's a teardown of one of these sticking APEM CW modules. Here it is assembled right here, and then this is just taken apart top to bottom. What I noticed on these, this one was sticking, and we have quite a few of them that we've purchased, and many of them are sticking, and not always initially. This one never was shipped to a customer. This one was sticking when I received it. And I've taken it apart here, and what you'll notice is that this body right here has a lot of loose pieces, probably from the injection molding process, where there's these leftover bits that are broken off. The pieces on the right here are pieces I have broken because this is a difficult switch to take apart. So all the ones on the right here, these three pieces and that piece, I cut off using a pair of flush cutters, so these are not the issue. The issue is the ones on the bottom here, and these pieces were all loose when I opened the module, except for this piece here, which was on the bottom. So this is just a piece of leftover flashing, and it was right here on this body. But these other three pieces were just loose and floating around in here. So I imagine that's the reason why it was intermittently sticking. I didn't find any other issues. And once I removed these pieces and before I cut these pieces off, this body moved just fine. It had no problems. There is some damage here. This was from me just trying to figure out how to take this apart. I'm not actually sure how it's assembled. I imagine, because this body goes all the way around. So whatever it is, I imagine it's just force fit and then it slots into place or whatever. But I don't know that it's easily disassemblable. It's the reason it's cut apart here. I tried my best to keep it together. But anyway, I really think it's these flashing pieces here. And so the issue we're ultimately left with is that unless we take all of these modules apart, we don't know which ones of these have the flashing in it. This batch of modules was purchased from Mouser on February 7th of 2023. I don't see any date codes on these, so I'm not sure what something might mean. They do have an 03 from it's some kind of proof mark here. They all have that 03. I'll also note that this connector on the end is one that we put on in-house. So these modules come with a 0.1 inch spaced header, which I've removed here. This is just one that has nothing. And this is added here. This is of course not what's causing that issue there. So what I wanted to do is just open another one of these up non-destructively, just to see if we can reproduce the flashing issue here. Okay, once we remove that, you can see here's just our Hall effect circuit board, and here's the actual mechanism itself. This one, I don't know that it was sticking. It certainly passed a test previously that it was not. So next we need to remove 4 of these plastic flanges here. The flashing I saw was again on this edge, the piece that was attached, maybe it was that edge, and then there were just these 3 pieces floating around in there, just almost out of frame. This one does not have it. There might be a little piece of flashing. Yeah, there's a little piece right there that I just broke off. This is the type of flashing here, but this is of course a much smaller piece. But it's the same thing, and it's on this body right here. This one looks to be in quite a bit better shape. But yeah, there's certainly flashing on there are pullouts here that when this is injected and molded here, there's pullouts here to make this feature. So there was some flashing there. It seems like all of these holes actually have a little bit of flashing. Yeah, there's definitely some flashing here that I can see as well. So it's something about these pullouts seems to be, probably the mold's worn down maybe. What is that? Yeah, there's a piece of flashing for sure right there. Of course it was attached. But yeah, I think this flashing is going to be problematic because this is just a random working one that I pulled. And it looks like if that flashing breaks off, then it can get stuck in the actual mechanism, which is no good. So yeah, there's another piece there. Of course, none of these pieces are broken off, but it doesn't mean they won't break off. There's a piece there. Again, this first one I took apart, these 3 pieces were loose. All of these pieces I've made here are, you know, I'm actually breaking them off, but they could certainly break off in the field if you're using these in a harsh environment, which is what they're made for. So, you know, the whole purpose of this is that it doesn't get crud in it and get gummed up. And the issue when that gets gummed up is they're getting stuck like that, which is in our machine, it's 20 kilowatts of power until the operator comes in there and flicks it and it returns to center when the spring is installed. So this is unacceptable for such a high-end switch designed to work forever. I think this is rated for certainly millions and millions of actuation cycles. There are no moving parts on the actual electrical mechanism. It's just this Hall sensor and a magnet here. So anyway, yeah, this doesn't pass muster on these switches. This is completely unacceptable, and I don't know what we need to figure out what we're going to do with this batch of switches. Now I have old batches of switches, and we can open those up as well. I'm not going to do that now, but the fact that we just picked a random one and had these pieces of slag coming off from the injection mold from the the 3rd axis when they're removing the way these are made. There's basically a top and a bottom mold, and then there's a side mold here that makes this feature, or those 2 features, and there's another side mold here that makes these 2 features, and it basically pulls out. So there's certainly something wrong with that. We'll open one more up. Again, this is not one that's sticking. To my knowledge, it works. So we will just keep sliding our board down here. And at $65 a pop, it's certainly difficult to take these apart, but honestly, I can't ship them to customers because they don't, unacceptable to have slag rolling around from the injection molding process. So they're basically worthless. I can't use them in a product I ship to customers. So we'll open this up. Yeah, there's already a loose piece that I can see that just came off right here. Well, we'll get it when we get inside here in a second. All right, there's a piece already on this 3rd one. There's another piece right there. Okay, and again, it's from this body right here. There's our spring. So given that I've looked at 3 of these and they all have had slag coming out of them, flashing bits, certainly a problem. Yeah, I can see flashing bits here. And, of course, we had these 2 pieces just floating around. There's a big old piece right there. So that's the same as, it's out of frame. Oh, oops, I caught. Here's another piece that fell out off screen. Sorry about that. So yeah, these parts cannot be shipped. And, this bucket here was like $3,000. So that's frustrating. And of course, even if these are replaced, I still have to replace the connector on all of them too, which is a lot of fun as well. So maybe, I know APEM will sell as an optional ones that have no headers on them. So, maybe we can get them without headers. But yeah, this is total garbage. I'm shocked that these parts were shipped. Again, this is an ultra premium product. Most people aren't paying $100 plus for a single joystick. Anyway, I think I'm done ranting there. APEM, I don't know what to say. Not great.